Hi, I'm David. I would like to introduce my book called Organization Excellence, Productivity Improvement, A Simple Approach. The reason why I've written this book is because recently I've come across companies which has the drive to improve but may not have the know-how. So I've decided in this book I will attempt to introduce tools which I deem might be useful for the implementations of such frameworks in the organizations. I've been working many years in the areas of information technology, business process, management systems, and in some aspects of innovation in terms of solutions implementations in an organization. Throughout the years of experience, I've implemented projects which improve productivity and along with the IT solutions to beef up the performance of an organization. Now let us proceed. This book is organized into chapters. The first chapter covers introduction and linkages between management systems and tools. And how does plan, do, check action actually helps the organizations in improvement. And I also cover why is there a need to set up policies, procedures, and controls in the organization. I've also attempted to discuss on automations. Is it the way or only way to start on productivity improvement? Next, I'll also cover or introduce tools such as plan layouts, time studies, 5S and 7 ways, scheduling concepts, and also IT contribution to productivity. All these are not absolute solutions that guarantee success for organizations. This is because really how an organization performs depends very much on how the concepts and relevancy of the tools are being implemented. I've also introduced frameworks that support productivity implementations, such as cost of quality, value analysis. And after all these tools that we implemented, we have to talk about performance measurement. So in the organization performance, I'm not an expert in financial, but basically you have to cover things like cash flow, EBITDA, various management system performances measurement. This can narrow down to department performance measurement and all the way down to personal excellence. The reason why this is done in such a manner is because I always believe every performance of an organization is very much dependent on the individual. And of course, we can document all the knowledge base into the system, but really, it is the people that determines to some level the performance of an organization. And in chapter 10, I've also covered organization excellence, which I really believe in planning big but implement small. Means that we will have a small implementation to have a test of the proof of concept. Once it is working, we will extend it out into a bigger scale. For example, this can evolve from a 1-2 person team of implementation to the level of company-wide or even regional-wide implementations. And in such cases, I stress a lot on setting directions along with legal legislations, because if we are not familiar with the legal legislation of a country, we may end up having problems, and this in turn affects the output of a company and may even result in stop work orders in some cases. And most of the time, most organizations will provide training, but the sufficiency of the training and the type of training will determine the type of outcome that an organization will be able to excel as well. Because if the training that the staff attended is not relevant, it will not help the organization at all. Last but not least, I have also covered business continuity planning and innovation. Although this is not really, in my opinion, widely implemented today, but a lot of companies are started to become aware and have in some level implemented some basic level of business continuity planning. And definitely today, everybody realize without innovation, a business may fail because competitors will be trying to outdo one another by coming out with more innovative products, more innovative process, and this requires framework, culture, and mindset of an organization. With this, I've summarized all the main points and the essence of this book. I hope you enjoy reading it as I've enjoyed writing it as well. I would like to explain a bit more through chapter 1 of this book. Maybe let me show you some example on what I'm referring to as governance. I have tried to map out an organization with the various functions of production, engineering, finance, procurement, IT, sales, and marketing. And last but not least, compliance. As can be seen here, take for example, the human resource department. For human resource department, there is a human resource functions that we take care day to day, and there's also a governance aspect. This is similar for other departments as well, but I would like to use human resource functions as maybe one of the example. In human resource functions, there's recruitment, health and welfare, and training. This is some example of the basic functions. Whereas the governance aspects, this is where you set the HR policies, set the HR procedures. It's also an area whereby you look at the performance measurement of staff through some level of monitoring. That's why I put it under governance. Next, we have the business continuity management, where we talk about the contingency plan, stuff like pandemic flu, contingency plan, haze contingency plan. And the other aspects may be legal requirements, for example, the Employment Act, safety functions. And last but not least, internal audit, where the systems are being audited based on the ISO 9001, OSHA 18001, or information security functions type of audit. This is one example of how governance may be, in my context, explained. Because, in my opinion, if a company do not even have this basic understanding in place, tendency is that it will run into problems may be higher in that sense. Maybe I'll choose another one called production department, where maybe in the production department we talk about productivity. So a lot of productivity, we talk about plant layouts, they talk about tools being used like 7 ways method management, time study, line balancing, 5S, and knowledge management in terms of IT implementation to support. You may be using SharePoint, Drupal, and the framework to implement such systems need to be in place as well. Next, when you look at quality, you may want to implement tools like cost of quality, and so on and so forth. So in terms of policies, you may want to set objectives, set procedures. For example, how things are manufactured, what's the criteria for processing certain parts. And last but not least, again, you may have ISO 9001 audit, or maybe even the safety audit as well. So this really depends on how the systems are implemented company-wide and to what level or to what scope the management systems are being certified to by the internal or external bodies. Next, let me zoom into other areas, the tools. What I've attempted to do is also to implement or explain some of the tools being used generally in some companies. For example, in the area of industrial engineering, we use tools such as systematic layout planning, time study, simulations. Next, I would like to show you a short clip on how simulations can illustrate the shortest processing time concept. Are you ready? Let us proceed. Imagine you are a person being assigned with 3 tasks, 10 seconds, 45 seconds, and 100 seconds. The question is, how would you perform this task so that you would have a better throughput? To illustrate this, I have divided this job assignment into 2 models here. One is arranged with ascending processing time, which is the 3 jobs. The other is arranged with the descending processing time, 100, 45 seconds, and 10 seconds. Okay. Now, zooming in, you'll see that there's a operator here. This operator, which is you, can move from machines to machines, and this is the output. At the end of the total output, you'll realize that the output is the same, but the difference is in the interim. To illustrate this, let me start with the simulation model. Let's do a start now. At the 80 seconds, halfway through, you'll realize that there will be 2 output. There's 2 output in the first model. In the second model, you totally have 0 output until coming to the end of the simulation time. You'll realize that the output is the same, which is 1, 2, and 3. Similarly for the other one is 1, 2, and 3. It ends at the same time. This is the difference and advantage of shortest processing time. It affects the interim. That means during the interim, you would have a better throughput. Let's continue to the rest of the tools. Lean manufacturing, you have tools like 7 ways and 5S, quality of cost of quality, value analysis, fishbone diagram, Pareto chart, fast diagram, for example. And in IT computerizations, normally you have Microsoft Office, Microsoft SharePoint, Drupal, and some other implementations. And performance measurement, you may be using concepts such as SMART. And management system wise, you may have 9001, ISO 9001, business continuity planning, and maybe some innovation projects. The whole essence of this book is to explain what and how, rather, concepts explained here may be implemented in an organization. However, it will not cover the detailed concepts or theory part of it, where you may have to refer to other books or other sources of information. Because in my years of experience, the difficult part of any implementations is the how, rather than the theory aspects of the various management systems and concepts. With this, I have more or less covered what I need to cover in the context of what this book is about, how it should be used, and in what situation this could be used. But it does not provide a foolproof solutions to guarantee an organization excellence. It is just a guide. Thank you.